Hello, welcome back to Snugglewood, young Dreamlynx. My name is Arin. Snuggle down into your warmest quilt and let tonight's calming tale and soothing sounds relieve you of any worries and guide you towards a deep, restful night's sleep under these beautiful stars above. And so our story begins in a place called Snuggleton, and the sleepy giant tale of Flowerpot Garden. Burrowed deep in Snuggleton, shrouded by the protective branches of a centuries-old oak tree, lies the Flowerpot Garden. It is a secret haven known only to a few, a place where time unfurls gently, like the delicate petals of a blooming flower. The ground here is blanketed with thick, velvety moss that cushions your every step. It whispers secrets of endless days bathed in sunlight and quiet nights under moonlit skies. Above, the mighty tree's canopy stretches wide, filtering sunlight into a quilt of soft, golden hues that dance through the leaves, carrying with them a soothing promise of rest and renewal. This garden brims with an enchanting abundance of flower pots, each one full of life, colour, and an almost imperceptible cuddle of energy. Every pot tells its own story, a story painted through the vibrant hues of daisies, chrysanthemums, and trailing ivy. The pots themselves, scattered whimsically, are aged terracotta, their surfaces adorned with patterns etched by time and speckled with emerald moss. Some are large and stately, commanding attention with their vibrant blossoms, while others are small and discreet, cradling delicate blooms that seem to whisper their beauty rather than shout it out loud. The garden is an intricate orchestra of scents that rise gently, never overwhelming. Lavender drapes itself over the edge of a pot, its soothing fragrance mingling seamlessly with the crisp, citrusy notes of marigolds. Nearby, pale blue forget-me-nots cluster together like stars nestled in a constellation of green, exuding a soft, powdery sweetness that adds to the caress of the atmosphere. Each scent layers upon the other until your senses are wrapped in a seamless, calming bouquet. At the center of the garden lies a circular fountain carved from sandstone that has weathered the ages. Water flows gracefully from its spout, spilling over its edges in delicate tendrils that glimmer in the dappled sunlight. The sound of the cascading water is a melody in itself, soft, rhythmic, and constant, as though the earth were breathing slowly and deeply. Surrounding the fountain, a tapestry of wildflowers reaches towards its gentle mist, their petals trembling in the tiniest of breezes. The air is alive with sound, yet delightfully tranquil. Bees drift lazily between the flowers, their buzz a soothing umlaut that vibrates just on the edge of consciousness. Somewhere among the branches of the ancient oak, birds sing their lullabies, their notes rising and falling like the flow of gentle tides. The occasional rustle of leaves or snap of a twig underfoot creates a backbeat to this organic symphony, grounding you in the present moment. Wandering through the gardens feels almost like entering a dream. Time here bends, stretches, and sways in the warm breeze. It is a place untouched by haste or worry, where care seems to melt like morning dew under a rising sun. Each flower pot is an invitation to pause, to gently untangle the threads of thought that weave a knot in your mind. A pot bubbling with starlight poppies invites you to sit and marvel at its bold spirit, while another overflowing with cascading petunias in hues of violet and cream offers a quiet nook to reflect. Their beauty does not compete, but flows together harmoniously. A narrow, winding path weaves its way through the Flowerpot Garden, guiding visitors past its treasures without breaking the serenity of the space. The path is made of uneven cobblestones, each smoothed by countless footsteps and edged with miniature daisies and clover. Overhead, the sunlight filters through the foliage in shifting, kaleidoscope patterns, warming your shoulders as the wind brushes softly against your cheek. Occasionally, the path opens into small clearings where patches of sunlight pour through the canopy in golden pools. These spots are adorned with hand-carved benches, crafted from the branches of fallen trees. Their surfaces are polished smooth, with elegantly swirling grains that tell silent tales of age and perseverance. Sitting there feels like resting in the most welcoming arms of nature herself, your body cradled by the warmth of wood and the tender sounds of the surrounding garden. Further into the garden, a series of hanging pots sway gently from low-hanging branches. They hold cascading greenery, trails of ivy, ferns, and creeping thyme that flows like verdant waterfalls. The movement of the foliage in the soft wind mirrors the ebb of a gentle tide. Beneath them, round river stones, cool to the touch, create a patchwork floor that lends a grounding contrast to the vibrant colours above. There are moments here where you might catch a glimpse of something extraordinary. The glint of sunlight off a dewdrop, poised delicately on a petal, or a light glisten in the air as though the garden breathes a quiet magic into the world. These occurrences aren't meant to be studied or understood. They simply exist, fleeting as a smile. The Flowerpot Garden holds a deep sense of nostalgia, even for those visiting for the first time. It feels familiar, as though it springs from a memory long buried, a childhood spent wandering among flowers, or an evening spent stargazing under a blanket of sky. Yet it is not bound to the past. It exists fully in the moment, grounding its visitors in the here and now with a gentle insistence that the present is enough. The edges of the garden are draped in climbing roses, their petals a mix of pale pinks, creamy whites, and rich crimsons. They weave themselves over a wooden trellis, the worn wood pushing proudly upwards to support the flourishing blooms. The fragrance here is soft and earthy, mingled with a touch of sweet warmth of sun-washed petals. On some days, a few petals drift lazily toward the ground, gathering in delicate piles that grow richer with every falling moment. Every living thing in this garden seems to exist in harmony. The The flowers do not vie for attention with one another, but lean into the delicate balance of the space. Even as you wander and explore, the garden seems to be exploring with you, always evolving, changing, and surprising. It is a sanctuary of serenity in a busy world, an invitation to stop, breathe, and simply be. There is no end to this garden. It stretches on infinitely in every direction. But when it's time to leave, you carry its tranquility with you, like a secret tucked into your heart. A reminder that among the chaos and noise of life, there are pockets of peace waiting to be discovered. And perhaps one day, when the world feels too heavy or overwhelming, you will return once more to this magical place where flowers whisper their secrets and time slows down just enough for you to catch your breath. The Flowerpot Garden is not just a physical space, but a state of mind. A reminder to pause and appreciate the beauty around us. It serves as a gentle nudge to slow down and savor the present moment, finding solace in the simple yet profound wonders of nature. So whenever life becomes too hectic, remember that this tranquil oasis awaits, ready to welcome you with open arms and remind you that sometimes all we need is a moment among the flowers to find inner peace. The Flowerpot Garden existed with an essence that seemed to dissolve the boundaries of imagination and reality. But beyond the gentle trails, the vibrant hanging pots, and the golden clearings, there was a subtle mystery, a quiet lore whispered among the rustling leaves and swaying ivy. This was the tale of the sleepy giant, a story woven into the fabric of the garden, felt in its roots and carried on the breeze. At the core of the garden, hidden further than most ventured, the earth seemed to contour differently. Here the paths weren't carved by tools, but shaped by time's wonder, leading to a tranquil grove known only to those who wandered far enough. This grove was said to be guarded by an ancient presence, a giant whose form was so seamlessly interwoven with the land that it could scarcely be seen. Yet its gentle influence was apparent in the way the grove exuded an inexplicable calmness, a stillness that seemed to cradle the senses. The giant, as the stories went, had long been part of this land, even before the garden had blossomed into existence. It was not a creature of mythic proportions, not menacing nor fierce, but rather one of immense peace and wisdom. Its form was said to resemble the landscape, broad and earthy, with limbs that merged with tree roots and a gaze that mirrored the slow passage of the stars. Over time, it had become one with the soil and stones, choosing slumber as a way to preserve the garden's harmony. The sleepy giant did not stir unless the harmony of the garden was threatened, and so it remained nestled in serene repose, the heart of the Flowerpot Garden beating slow and steady with its presence. The path to the grove began innocuously enough, with cobblestones softened by moss and framed by the delicate white blossoms of starflowers. Birds chirped in intermittent bursts, their songs scattered like tiny fragments of joy among the canopy above. There was a growing quiet as one walked, not an oppressive silence, but rather a deepening stillness that welcomed introspection. Gradually, the air seemed to grow cooler, richer, with a comforting scent of damp earth and aged bark. Approaching the grove, visitors were met with a peculiar sight. At the centre of the clearing lay an enormous mound, its surface blanketed in thick emerald moss that glistened in the filtered sunlight. It rose gently along one edge, shaping what could almost be imagined as a reclining form. The sloping curves of this mound gave the impression of broad shoulders, a bowed head, and limbs stretching out imperceptibly into the earth. Towering trees framed the scene like silent sentinels, their roots twisting and weaving into the mound, as though reaching for the steady heartbeat within. This was the sleepy giant, as described in hushed tones by those who claimed to have found the grove. Though its slumber was eternal, the energy emanating from it was said to be deeply restorative. Those who stood in the grove often remarked of an uncanny sense of weightlessness, as though their worries and burdens were gently lifted and absorbed into the landscape. Time felt slower here, almost stretching as the golden light filtered softly through the leaves. The soft sound of bees and the distant chime of wind-blown ivy carried a soothing rhythm, harmonizing all things. Beyond the mound, the grove extended into sections, brimming with flora unlike any found elsewhere in the garden. Velvet soft carpets of bluebells stretched under the branches, their petals offering serene sky-like hue at ground level. Tiny ferns, no taller than a hand, unfurled delicate tendrils of green, arranged with uncanny precision in spiral patterns as though echoing the labyrinth's design. Nearer the edges of the clearing, pale mushrooms grew in orderly clusters, their caps sparkling like moonlight captured in their folds. The sleepy giant's presence was said to influence the natural growth of the grove, fostering an inexplicable balance. Flowers bloomed precisely, never competing for sunlight or space, but leaning gently into one another in a graceful interdependence. Leaves fell as if they knew their time had come, landing in soft drifts that nourished the soil without smothering the life beneath. Even the birds seemed to sing in unison, their calls forming harmonious melodies that rose and fell with the breaths of the garden. Occasionally, visitors spoke of feeling a soft pulse beneath their feet when standing in the grove. Subtle vibrations that synchronized with the tranquil rhythm of their breathing. It was a sensation that defied explanation, yet it brought with it a profound reassurance, a deep-rooted comfort akin to being held by something infinitely ancient and kind. For many, the experience was fleeting. The presence of the sleepy giant was gentle, almost imperceptible. Still, those who lingered long enough swore they left the grove altered in some intangible way. Legends whispered that the sleepy giant was a guardian not only of the garden's serenity, but of its timelessness. The garden's ability to exist seemingly outside the confines of time, where moments stretched into eternities and memories wove seamlessly into the present, was said to stem from the giant's influence. This connection gave rise to its name, for the giant's great slumber was believed to sustain the garden's magic. If if it were to awaken, time would rush forward, and the unique stillness of the Flowerpot Garden would fragment like shards of glass. Those who wandered the paths did not speak of these tales lightly. Though the sleepy giant was regarded with awe, its unseen gaze felt warm and benevolent, a presence that cradled the garden in an eternal lullaby. To speak of it was to acknowledge the mystery and reverence woven into the very soil, to honour the unspoken bond between the giant and the garden's flourishing life. The grove's influence extended well beyond its boundaries. Visitors often remarked that their lives grew more vivid after their visit, their senses heightened as though the lushness of the garden had imprinted itself onto their memory. Simple acts like listening to rain patter on a window or watching leaves sway in the wind felt deeper, more profound. Whispers of the grove's presence persisted in the most unexpected moments, like borrowed echoes of the sleepy giant's pulse, reaching out into the world beyond the garden. Not all who ventured the flower-lined paths of the Flowerpot Garden discovered this hidden grove, and fewer still believed in the tales of a slumbering giant. But for those who did, the experience was less about solving a mystery and more about rediscovering a quiet harmony they had long forgotten. The sleepy giant, resting peacefully beneath its verdant shroud, reminded them of life's delicate rhythms, the quiet beauty that exists beyond the noise of the world. It was not just a tale of enormous proportions, but a quiet lesson etched into the garden, an invitation to slow down and breathe in the tranquil wonders that so often go unnoticed. And so, deep within the heart of the Flowerpot Garden, the sleepy giant dreamt on, its presence felt even when its slumber remained undisturbed. Whether myth or reality, its legacy lived on, a reminder of the enduring magic that could be found in unexpected places and gentle moments. For those who sought it, the grove offered an escape, a sanctuary from the chaos of everyday life. And for those who were lucky enough to stumble upon it by chance, they left with a piece of that magic, tucked safely within their hearts, ready to guide them through even the darkest of times. So if you ever find yourself wandering through the Flowerpot Garden, keep your senses open and listen closely for the delicate murmur of the sleepy giant's tranquility. For it may just hold the key to unlocking your own inner peace and harmony. The legend lives on, and the grove continues to thrive, a testament to the enduring power of nature and its mystical inhabitants. So take a moment to pause and breathe in the gentle magic of this hidden sanctuary. As you continue your journey through the Flowerpot Garden, remember that there is always more to discover beneath its surface beauty. The stories and legends woven into its landscape are just waiting to be uncovered by those willing to open their hearts and minds. And who knows what other secrets lie within its tranquil depths, just waiting for curious souls to stumble upon them. The sleepy giant may remain a mystery, but one thing is certain: its presence will continue to inspire and enchant all those who are fortunate enough to experience it. So go forth, adventurers, and let the Flowerpot Garden guide you on a journey of discovery, both within yourself and the world around you. For in this magical place, anything is possible, and every step holds the promise of something extraordinary. The sleepy giant may sleep on, but its influence remains eternally awake. It's up to us to embrace it and see where it takes us. So go ahead, take that first step into the grove and lose yourself in its timeless wonder. You never know what treasures await you there.